All right, so we have quite the video here for you guys today. And this is about Jordan Peterson, who is one of the biggest grifters in all of existence. The guy makes somewhere around $7 to $8 million a year, somewhere around there. So he's definitely very, very loaded. But he still decided to paywall his conversation with Zizek, and Zizek said he was giving his part to charity. So he's a greedy bastard, is what Jordan Peterson is. So there's something really weird going on. Okay, so there's something called the Acton Business School of Business, and I guess you can get your MBA there. And my understanding is, I guess it is accredited, but it seems interesting to say the least. I'm not sure why anybody would do it, but there was this supposed partnership between the man you see on screen here, Jordan Peterson, and the Acton Business School, where they're going to have this Peterson Fellowship, where it's like Jordan Peterson is advertising this is like, here's a thing that's going to be, the inference and the assumption is that the fucking thing is going to have something to do with the guy on the screen, Jordan Peterson, right? And so when you come down here, so are you everything you could be? Choose your future. And it says, take the first step. Audition for a Peterson Fellowship at one of the most competitive business schools in the United States. And here it has audition for it, and it tells you Peterson Fellowship prototype disruptive learning systems. Work with Dr. Peterson's team to transform the way the world learns. And so there's all of these kinds of ridiculous sort of buzzwords and phrases, if you will. And it's very, very odd stuff, saying. So, it has the challenge, and then it has all this stuff, right? It says over 3,000 have already auditioned. So it's kind of interesting, right? If you see this on its own, you're kind of like, what exactly is this? What am I looking at? It seems kind of like a scam. Well, here's something interesting. So this is from the Jordan Peterson Reddit. This is like from Jordan Peterson's Reddit himself. And this was posted 5 months ago. Okay, here's what it says. It says, Peterson Fellowship / Acton MBA. Something doesn't feel right. Does anyone else think there's something mighty suspicious up with this Acton MBA thing Dr. Peterson is now advertising? I got the email and jumped at the opportunity, applied immediately, got a reply from some, quote, master teacher, saying my replies were consistent with top candidates and I would be auto-forwarded to the next round. That's cute, I thought. Reached out to a friend, she applied, exact same thing happened, and we filled that form out in very different ways. So I went on the site, filled out the form entirely randomly, put my own name down, something like W33D, smoker, put options in the boxes that weren't even possible, repeated this 3 times, every single application had the same thing. Wow, congratulations, auto-forwarded to the next round top candidate. But it's not even just that. This course starts in February and seems to be pretty much full-time. For a man who's preaching responsibility and getting your life together, this seems like a rather large contradiction in terms. Quote, please uproot your entire life in 3 months. In addition, there's literally no detailed information as to what the course is, where it came from, and how involved Dr. Peterson actually is, if at all. Jordan Peterson. Does anyone feel something is up here? Perhaps some data gathering exercise, something gone massively wrong, or just a selling of the Peterson name to some institution. So already what we're looking at here, alarms, sirens are going off, wee woo, like going off like hardcore right now. It's like, whoa, this seems to be a massive scam is what we're looking at here, right? I mean, this just straight up looks like a massive scam from what we're seeing right here. So fast forward a month later, and this was just brought to my attention because I saw that Cult of Dusty was talking about this, and this was something very interesting. So this guy Topher Keen posts this, and I recommend you read this entire post because, as you guys can see, I can't read all of this to you here on this video, but I will read parts of it. So he posted this to the Reddit saying, letter, I was accepted as a Peterson Fellow for the Acton MBA Fellowship and had my acceptance rescinded for asking too many questions and being, quote, uncomfortable with ambiguity. I'm confused, Dr. Peterson. This program requires $65,000 in debt and relocation. We deserve answers. So to get this fellowship, the typical or the standard tuition for this Acton, MBA is 65 G's, which is a crap load of money, obviously. And obviously you've got to relocate to go to the school. So he, here's what it says. It says, Dr. Peterson, the following is an unedited transcript of the email exchange I've had with Acton since being accepted as a Peterson Fellow. I'm confused. Your message of responsibility speaks to me deeply, and it does not seem very responsible to ask someone to uproot their life, move across the country, lose a year of wages, go into 65K of debt, all for a program that refuses to answer basic questions about your level of involvement. The Acton MBA seems like a wonderful standard program, but fellows applied for this because of your name, not because of Acton. If you just signed off on this as a branding deal, I'm profoundly disappointed. I'm flummoxed that you haven't mentioned it once in a public interview that I can find in the past months, not even your recent Q&A. So, if you don't know, Jordan Peterson's a huge grifter. He's extremely greedy. He wants as much money as possible. He's like the epitome of like capitalist greed. Insane amounts of capitalist greed. He needs to money grab every single thing possible, right? No amount of money is enough for this guy, right? There's video of him explaining that he makes $7 to $8 million a year, and they had this conversation he had this convo with Zizek, Slavoj Zizek, and they're already sold tickets to the event, which is usually all you're gonna have people pay for. He also made people pay online tickets to watch. It's like, how much of a money grubber can you... And keep in mind, by the way, Zizek gave his half to charity. He's probably like, what the fuck? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you paywalling the stream? There's no reason to. It's like, there's no amount of money that's enough for this guy. This guy's been grifting for decades. You can see him with this dumbass fedora and looking like a robber baron from, like, the 1800s. He looked like a buffoon and a loser. And so it finally took off with this whole SJW nonsense because there are a bunch of suckers like this guy. So he's a massive grifter who has a, never-ending greed for dollars and money. He wants as much money as possible, and he's making a lot of it. So this is stunningly reminiscent of Trump University. Remember that scandal with Donald Trump where he had his university, but it wasn't a real degree. Nobody knew what the hell he was doing, and there was no actual classes or any of that kind of stuff. Then he had to settle a bunch of money because he was scamming people. So here's what it says. It says, spent well over 20 hours working on my submissions for this fellowship. I'm so sad this time seems to have been wasted. Perhaps you are really selecting for those, quote, most comfortable with ambiguity. They will get a chance to work with your team on the revolutionary online university project. I hope that's true, and I wish I could have been part of it. I cannot and will not risk my family's future for something that appears so outwardly unprofessional and sketchy. I do understand that I personally contacted more than a dozen fellowship recipients who were fully accepted and rejected the offer for the same reasons I have. We are very unhappy and disillusioned. We are some of your most devoted fans. We deserve answers and apology. I await your response. So this guy right here is a sucker. So if you don't know that Jordan Peterson's a grifter, he's a fraud and a liar and a money-grubbing, greedy fuckboy, you're an idiot like this guy who's ready to pop up 65 Gs because Jordan Peterson did a dumb brand deal with this shady school who's like this weird cultish, school in the first place. It's really crazy. So he basically, asks this guy about all of this. He asked him all these questions to answer because he has a lot of questions, right? Like, imagine you're going to like UC Berkeley or something. You don't know what the system is. Like, they don't have like a set schedule or system, and you've got questions because you're going to be attending the school. You're going to have questions, right? And so he's got all these questions, which are all legitimate. It says, having submitted your financial disclosure form, what, if any, financial support am I eligible for? How does the Peterson Fellowship differ from the standard Acton MBA specifically? The answer is none. Will there be any contemporaneous cohort of traditional Acton MBA students alongside fellowship recipients? And this is probably the most important one. It says, what is Jordan Peterson's involvement, if any, in designing the curriculum? What is his involvement, if any, in delivering instruction? So you have all these questions that are being asked, rightfully so. Like, does Jordan Peterson have anything to do with this, fellowship? Or is this just him doing a brand deal to rake in cash, kickback money for people, dummies like this loser who signed up for it? We're some of your most devoted fans. We deserve apologies. You're a sucker, dude. You're a sucker and a loser. And these are the types of people that enable grifters. Like, Jordan Peterson makes it. He makes it being a grifter because of a guy like this, because of a doofus like this. So he asks all these questions, and the CEO, I guess, responds saying this. He says, "Oh, by the way, I want to mention that you're not you can't apply for a federal loan grant for this school. So keep that in mind as well. But here's what the CEO says. He says, "Hi, Topher. I'm replying for Chris so he can focus on helping the last few applicants with extra financial aid and spend some time with his family. We appreciate the time you spent in the audition process and hope you've gotten some value from it. And I applaud your skepticism. It's a valuable trait." So already, let's take a really big pause right here, right? And I applaud your skepticism. It's a valuable trait. What kind of a comment is that? This already indicates to me and to everyone with two brain cells to rub together that this is a scam job, or it's just some bogey, like, improvised bogus, like, school. It's total BS, 1,000 trillion gazillion % BS. This is not legit at all, people. Trust me. That's why. Could you imagine sending UC Berkeley an email asking them a question, and then they rescind your application after they accepted you because you were asking too many questions? They respond saying, "And I applaud you for your skepticism. It's a valuable trait." That's not a thing that happens at real universities, at real schools that are actually like set up and legit and not scams. That's so crazy that this fucker sent this, dude. How insane is that? It says, "However, it doesn't sound as if this is the right opportunity for you. The work we'll be doing together requires a tolerance for ambiguity and will be messy." What kind of a thing is this? The work we'll be doing together requires a tolerance for ambiguity? That's just an excuse for not actually having anything set up and being able to scam people by saying, "Hey, bro, I told you we don't have anything set up. You're just a doofus who got scammed like everyone else." It's incredible how stupid this is. We've got a terrific team and an extraordinary group coming to Austin, but it's a pioneering bunch. We don't know many of the answers because emergent growth is unpredictable, and we'll be co-creating the future as we go. As to your questions, there's a purpose behind every step in the audition process, because with each choice, each of us learns more. For example, we needed to ask for quick turnarounds because we were surprised when 2,300 people answered the call for only 50 spots. That's bogey. If you know you have 50 spots, this is just an enabling method for the scam to continue, because as people are pointing out, if you got 23 jokers applying for only 50 spots, what you can do is you can have such stupid standards and everything where there's only 50 spots, so that means that all you got to do is weed out all of the people who aren't doofuses who fall for the Ty Lopez type of garbage. So with such a limited number of fellowships, we had to rapidly process finalists to assemble the best cohort possible and give each person as timely a response as possible as we filled the last precious spots. And the last thing we needed was more outreach from Dr. Peterson. We already had far too many qualified people on the wait list. If you remain interested, I'd hope you'd follow what the initial band of Peterson Fellowship accomplishes. If it seems attractive, re-audition for a later cohort where there's more information available and less risk. Until then, we wish you all the best, Jeff. So you can't set up a fellowship and then not actually have like a curriculum, a set of, I guess an FAQ, all these kinds of different things, right? The people who are applying should know all this information. They should know what are the courses that are being offered, how does this differ from the regular Act-On MBA, what is Jordan Peterson's involvement in this, if any, how is the curriculum affected by Jordan Peterson, what are the key differences between Jordan Peterson and the Act-On MBA on its own, or is this just a brand deal? So, if you didn't already know, which I don't know how you would not know this, Jordan Peterson is a grifter. He's a fraud. His entire thing, he's been doing this grift for a long time. It just never caught on. There's literally video of him wearing like a fedora and looking like a used car salesman. And it caught on with goobers like this. Like this guy right here, he's a goober. He's a goober. This dude right here, Topher, you're a goober, bro. You're an idiot. You're a doofus. You're a clown. Because you were about to pay $65,000 for a Peterson fellowship at some bogey, sketchy college, not even a school of business. It's just absolutely insane, man. And the reason I hate people like this is because they enable these kinds of grifters, man. And so Jordan Peterson makes like 8 to 10 million a year, and he's gonna continue, trying to make more. He's gonna try to grub at as much as he can. He's frauding people right here for money. Think about how unethical that is, right? It's insane. This is incredibly reminiscent of Trump University. But I hope that I have done an adequate job of exposing this fraud in this video.